Hi, I'm Carly McCracken with the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library System, and I'm standing in the Shady Grove here at the Turner Community Garden. Last time we filmed here, it was in March and things weren't in bloom, and we wanted to show you an update of what the garden could look like when you visit.
Perfect.
We're here with Beth Wyatt. She is the aquaponics, pollinator, and orchard expert here at the Turner Community Garden. Can you tell me about this system that's standing next to you?
Yeah, this is the aquaponics, and people often get it confused with hydroponics, and the difference is aquaponics, we fertilize the plants with fish waste, whereas in hydroponics, it's chemically fertilize the water. And I have some test plants in here just to see, since we just set it up for the season, to see how they're doing, and they're actually doing good. They're a little bit brown, but that's because of too much sun, and they're not used to it because they came out of my kitchen. So we have the fish tank there, and then this is a porous gravel bed. And what they do is they put this porous clay in a furnace of like over 1,000 degrees, and what it does is make it light, so you can dig through it. It's aeration, and this is an ebb and flow bed, because the plant roots cannot always sit in water or they're going to rot. So this will drain down and then it fills up. This is a floating raft bed, and I have no plants in it since it's the beginning of the season, but it floats and it receives its air from these air stones that are around the system. And this system was first developed thousands of years ago by the Aztec Indians on the rivers. So it's been around for a long time, but what's really amazing about this is a way, this whole system is a way to teach another form of growing produce. So the kids love it. They love the fish, and we can lift these rafts up in the summer, and they can see all the roots hanging underneath, and it kind of gives them a really good concept of the root system, which you normally don't see when it's in soil. So I started at the Turner Community Garden at the end of 2017. I retired and I took the Master Gardener program, which is just an amazing program. But you do have to provide volunteer hours to the community, so I chose the Turner Community Garden. And this has become one of my pet projects. Calvin and Jim taught me how to run the system. I still depend on them, but I don't know if they knew what they was asking for, because I took the whole hoop house over. And they used to have tomatoes planted in the soil beds. And I asked them if I could switch it up, just because the kids come down every year, something new, and I said I want to raise pollinator flowers and milkweed, and I want to raise monarch butterflies, and because there is a little shortage on monarch butterflies. So the first year we had really good success. From 3 butterflies that we captured, we released approximately 100.
Wow.
So it was more than I anticipated. We were running out of milkweed. It's like, anyone that has milkweed, please bring it down. But this is probably my favorite place to spend my time at the garden. And this is an ideal location for people who had physical trouble with bending down and moving around. If they want to volunteer, because all the beds are waist high, and you will not find a weed in here unless you actually plant it. So to plant something, all I had to do is pull a little of the porous clay back. See, it has a root on it. Stick it down in there, and it will grow. And I've tested like Brussels sprouts. We had them growing in the soil, and I took one and I put it in the aquaponics. And wow, it like within a couple of weeks it was like double the size.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what do you normally plant in these floating?
It depends, since I now have the pollinator for the butterflies. I've kind of switched it up, and this is mostly going to be herbs. And then I do a lot of peppers in here. I used to do tomatoes, but oh my goodness, they're messy. So I don't know. I'll plant a couple other things besides peppers, but I already have the peppers growing. And I have, what goes in here is these little rock wool plugs. And they're about that big around. And you put one seed on it and germinate it. And then once you start getting roots growing through the bottom of the rock wool, which is about that tall, then you put the plugs in here. You caught me doing a water test, and I need to make sure that all the chemicals in the aquaponics is not going to be harmful to the fish or to the plants. I had a problem with the ammonia being too high. And so when I first received the 50 tilapia fish that were about a half inch, they're probably not much more than a half inch now, I had to put them in a cooler because I had too much ammonia in the system until it came down. And I did get it down, but with our cool nights, the water's still pretty cold for those little fries. So I have 2 heaters in the fish tank that they can swim around and stay warm. And when you put fish this big in that giant 250-gallon tank, you don't see them. They're at the bottom, but you just assume they're fine. I have had a couple little floaters, and that's how you know if one succumbed to death. Otherwise, right now everything's working.
Now, do the fish get big enough to actually see in the tank?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, they get big enough. And then I let, like when the Turner community kids come down, I give them all like little handfuls of food. And then I hide my food so they don't go back for another one and overfeed them. And let them feed the fish because they'll come up and eat them.
And about when do you get the caterpillars that you raise in here, correct?
Yeah, I have about a month, a little more than a month, and then they're going to, and then butterflies will start coming around. We captured 3 last year, and then we raised about 100. And it's just amazing though for the kids. But right now I'm working on growing my pollinator plants and my milkweed. I lost some milkweed that I planted to these little slugs.
Yeah.
So I try not to use any chemical in this whole hoop house. But when it comes to little slugs eating on my milkweed, I'm going to use some slug killer.
Any future visitors coming to the Turner Community Garden, are they able to come into this hoop house and see the butterflies, caterpillars, fish, and everything?
Yes, we love it to have visitors because every year something new is added to this garden. And I think that's what keeps them coming back. And now we're going to have a picnic area up here, which is under the shade. Other than me, you've got a lot of privacy, you know. There might be someone working in one of their garden plots, but it's a nice place to sit down and have your lunch or have a picnic. We have picnic areas down there, and we're just making it more and more community friendly, I think, every year. And the only thing I can say is we sure could use some more volunteers.
Yeah.
We've got our hands full.
Well, thank you so much for making time for us today and sharing everything with us in this wonderful hoop house. All right, I'm here with Todd Creator. Todd, you're the Turner Community Garden hive expert. Can you kind of tell us what's going on behind you here?
Well, I got 2 hives here. I got a flow hive, which is a hive that you can put a key in and turn it, and the honey comes right out. Somebody donated that to us, so I could put it in there and show the kids. And it's got little pockets on the side I can open up and let the kids see without getting stung. The other one is a swarm I caught the other day. Just happened to come to my own yard, so I grabbed it. And it came from around my neighborhood, and in order to keep bees, you have to move them 2 miles away, you know, or they'll go back right where they came from. Like if I move the hive over 1 foot, I got to move them 2 miles away for 30 days, bring them back, and then move it over 1 foot. So I brought them down here because we needed more bees down here, and I'm gonna bring a couple more down so they can pollinate the garden and make sure everything grows right.
Can you tell us why are bees so important to this garden?
Well, bees pollinate 80% of what everybody eats. Without bees, we wouldn't exist. So, you know, as far as pollinating goes, they do a lot of pollinating around here. They visit many flowers a day, and it takes quite a few flowers before they can make much honey. So.
And how did you get involved with the garden here?
Oh, I've known Jim for a while. I've been a beekeeper for about 5-6 years, and I met Jim and talking about putting some bees down here, and they loved the idea. So I found this dog kennel, and we put a piece of plexiglass on it. That way the bees have to go up and over the children, and as long as they don't swat at them, you know, they're just fine. So Jim agreed, and so did Calvin. So I brought them down, and we've had a good friendship ever since.
That's fantastic. And can you tell us what's in your hands there?
I got some sugar water. These are brand new bees. I just put them in, and they don't have any comb built together, so I'm feeding them so they can eat and everything, so they won't die. And I feed them until they're all established. You know, so when they're new, when they're a swarm, they come out there. They have two stomachs. They have a honey stomach and a regular stomach, and they come out and they're full because before they leave, they fill up on honey. But after that digests everything, they don't have nothing. So I keep feeding them until they quit taking food.
All right. Thank you so much for making time for us today.
Not a problem. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.